Welcome to Fraud Fact Friday, this time in video format. I got some feedback saying that maybe we should integrate some video content into the theme. So I have with me today Michael Skiba, aka Dr. Fraud. He's my go-to guy on talking fraud. We've already done a podcast episode in the past, so welcome, Michael. Thanks for taking the time to interview on the Fraud Fact Friday.
Great. Hey, David. How are you? Great to be here.
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. Thank you.
Good. So the topic I have for you today is internal fraud or employee fraud. So there's a statistic out there floating around that there's $3.5 trillion in losses associated to internal fraud in the U.S. alone. So that means employees are kind of cheating their companies. There's different schemes that they use to do that. And so I wanted to just jump right in and get your input on what's going on in the minds of those internal fraudsters. Why are they cheating their companies?
Yeah, great question, David. And I think, companies are so hesitant to look at this simply because, they hired these people. So sometimes there's just a mindset, a difficulty even understanding that would happen in their organizations. But, coupled with those impactful statements that you just mentioned, and also the fact that only 4% of internal fraudsters have any prior convictions. It just shows that it's really a matter of opportunity. A lot of these fraudsters, they might not even think, of committing these type of acts, but an opportunity presents themselves, a gap or vulnerability, and they take advantage of it. So it's a huge problem right now.
So opportunistic fraud, I guess.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So, can you give an example of a type of scheme that these fraudsters are using based on your experience?
Absolutely. And I tell you, two of the biggest cases I was involved in, this is when I was managing special investigative units, involved vendor payments. So these were employees that were in collusion with outside contractors, outside vendors. So I think lesson learned for me, and again, the statistics also show that when you have employees, it could be account managers, claim representatives, anyone with a level of authority that have the ability to issue payments to outside parties, should really keep an eye on those things because it's just ripe for fraudulent opportunities.
Okay. So what can companies do then to prevent internal fraud? What are some steps they can take to keep their employees from stealing from them, making fraudulent payments and things like that?
So I have seen the most successful companies integrate strategies based on a multi-pronged approach. So one would be leveraging some sort of technology to help, in that example I gave, to monitor payments and look for outliers, payments that are too high or too low. But secondly, use that human component, the back to basics type things, such as, a code of conduct, a culture of honesty statements, but also something as simple as taking vacations. I'm encouraging employees to do that because studies show that when you're involved in fraudulent activities, those employees don't want other employees or supervisors or managers kind of meddling in their business. So they have a high propensity not to take vacation. So a manager should absolutely promote taking vacation time.
All right. Seems a bit counterintuitive maybe for management, but
absolutely
encouraging those vacations.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for that input. I know that you've done some work on this in the past, and I'll link down to one of your blog articles on the topic for anybody interested in reading more about it. Maybe an easy question here at the end. I don't know if it's easy, but maybe an easy question at the end. It's summertime. People are going on vacation. So what would be a recommendation from you for maybe a book or a movie in the fraud fighting space, something to relax on but also be informed?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think, two of the ones that I've fallen back on right now are Can You Ever Forgive Me, Melissa McCarthy. So I actually watched it in 2018 when it came out, and I have the book version of that. And also Catch Me If You Can. That's based on a 1980s con artist. Leonardo DiCaprio was in that. That's also available by book. But I think both of those get into the psychology of the white-collar criminal. And they're based on true stories. So they're fun reads, but also educational at the same time. So definitely good for some poolside reading for sure, David.
Okay, nice. Well, thank you for your time. And that's it for this edition of Fraud Fact Friday. And see you next time.
Great. Thank you, David. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.